To this day.
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 What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn, Derek Chisora, and Luis King Kong Ortiz. Get this. Eddie Hearn has revealed Derek Chisora has held talks to fight Luis Ortiz. Names other potential fights, but it may not be Deontay Wilder. Derek Chisora doesn't look like he'll get that huge fight with Deontay Wilder, but a bout with Luis Ortiz may be on the cards, according to Eddie Hearn. The promoter sparked some conversation among the fans when in December he suggested that Chisora could beat Wilder if the two were to meet in the ring. Del Boy versus Wilder, he said there had been no talks with the Americans team, but they have been in discussions with the tough Cuban Ortiz. It was only a throwaway comment for me saying if the fight went 4 or 5 rounds, I think he'd beat Wilder, Hearn said. But it's obviously a very dangerous fight for him at the time. There's been talks about Chisora against Luis Ortiz with those guys, and I like that fight. Chisora against Chris Arreola, or Chisora against Zhang Zhili, he's never in a bad fight, and he wants to fight. He wants the biggest fights out there, and we're trying to find him one. Chisora's last fight, of course, was with Joseph Parker, as he lost a lopsided unanimous decision to Mr. Spidey Parker. Anyway, what do I think about that? Well, this is what I want to know. And then this is the problem I always have with guys talk about Ortiz. When you talk about Luis King Kong Ortiz, I don't like the fact that they talk about him and somebody else. Zhilei Zhang, Chris Arreola, because more than likely, those fights, they will pick somebody except Ortiz. You know, Ortiz just won by knockout, 5th round, was it? And he showed that even though he showed he was a tiring fighter, he showed that he was an aging fighter, but he also showed that he was still a damn dangerous fighter, okay? And with, I think, Chisora 37 years of age now, or 38 maybe. I got to check on that. Him versus Ortiz, I think that'll be a good fight, man, because those guys, you know, one coming off a win, the other one coming off a loss, or one a lot older. That would be good for the resume. Because if some guys like Joe Joyce, because, you know, those guys were supposed to fight Luis Ortiz, and they ducked Ortiz. Let's be real. They did duck Ortiz. Regardless of what you heard about a few months ago, no. Abel Sanchez ducked Ortiz. He was training Joe Joyce, and he said that he did not want his fighter, Joe Joyce, to fight Luis Ortiz. Now, understand this. Trainers, if they're not your manager, have no say-so in what you do. Okay? Freddie Roach said he didn't like the fight for Pacquiao, for Crawford, right? He didn't like that Crawford fight for Pacquiao, sorry. So this fight here, Abel Sanchez did not want the Luis Ortiz fight for Joe Joyce. He didn't like that fight. But understand, Abel Sanchez was not his manager. Okay, he was his trainer. Yeah, he has an opinion, but he doesn't have any say-so on what he wants. What am I saying, people? I'm saying all this to say that Joe Joyce could have said, no, Abel, I got this. I'm ready. I can beat this guy. You have to understand, Joe Joyce ain't no spring chicken either. These guys are 35, 36 years old. They're not fucking 27, 28. Okay? They've peaked. If they're not, this is the best they're going to be. Okay? So guys have ducked Luis Ortiz before, and what I'm tired of seeing and hearing, somebody fight the fucking guy. That's what I walk this earth like a god. Chris Martin, somebody said that by accident, but Charles Martin took the fight. He got knocked out. He dropped Luis Ortiz twice. It was a good fight. 1st of January, we started off with heavyweight boxing through and through. It was a good fight. It was a good night of fighting. Okay, good night of boxing there. And you hear Eddie Hearn, well, we're going to do this and do that. Look, how about let's just go and focus on one guy and get that fight done. Him and Jim Jimenez, or Jay Jimenez, they have history. And in my understanding, Jay Jimenez owes Ortiz one, and according to Eddie Hearn. So I think his ass needs to get that fight done. Derek Chisora has nothing to lose, so I don't see why that fight couldn't happen anyway. Now, if this was Dillian White or somebody like that, no, Eddie Hearn probably wouldn't want to risk it because that's one of his top dogs, one of his top fighters. So he wouldn't want Ortiz coming from an Al Heyman platform to come over there and do what Andy Ruiz did coming from an Al Heyman platform. You know, because Ortiz is known to upset people. He's only got beat by one man his whole life, twice. Everyone else didn't seem to do it. They call him old. They call him this. They call him that. The dinosaur. He sparred with Jack Johnson and all this shit. But at the end of the day, somebody got to fight this guy. And each guy they put up against him, besides Wilder, gets knocked out. And this is facts. Brian Jennings, Dave Allen, Malik Scott, Charles Martin. Okay? There's many other guys, but those are the top. So give this man some more because he's trying to feed his family. We know his story. It's a passionate one. You know what I mean? Because his daughter took a turn for the worse and all this, that, and the other. So this man, he doesn't give a shit if he's 58. He's going to still be fighting. So as long as this guy's fighting, give him that fight. And why not with another seasoned fighter across the pond? I like the idea of the fight. And I just hope Eddie and Jay can get together and make this fight happen. Not Zili Zhang or fucking Chris Arreola. No, I mean someone that has that reputation of being ducked. If Derek Chisora wants to be a true badass, he would want that fight and that fight only. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn mentioning talks between Luis King Kong Ortiz and Derek War Chisora. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.